Now, one of the most depressing things I think about this whole race industry and this move to reconciliation, supposedly over the last decade, 2 decades, is that it seems to have had exactly the opposite effect. The angriest and the least reconciled dominate the debates. The moderates are kept in the corner, in the dark, and we just seem to be more tense, more angry with each other than ever before. It is just such a shame, just such a shame. Now, as I say, it's the people who do the most complaining with the most extreme claims. They seem to dominate the microphones these days. I want to actually bring back to the program someone who I think is the bravest, probably the bravest woman in Australia that I can think of in terms of the public debate. Someone who's always had so much interesting and original an individual to say, and there's Jacinta Price. She's a former Alice Springs councillor, now Director of Indigenous Research for the Centre for Independent Studies. Jacinta, thank you so much indeed for your time. I'm honoured to have you on the show again. Thank you,
Andrew. I'm still a councillor with the Alice Springs Town Council as well.
Good on you. Well, good on you. Thank you for that. Are you as worried as I am by this race debate in Australia driving us apart?
Absolutely, I'm concerned. I saw this happening, 15, 20 years ago when talk of racism as being the major issue facing Aboriginal people was just sort of springing up here and there. And now it's become an absolute fetish. And there are individuals out there who are quite prepared to push this divide further, to push these lies and these narratives that are absolutely baseless further. And I don't know what they're trying to achieve, whether it's just to appease their own very ignorant ways of viewing the world, or what it is, or they think that they can they're bullying individuals and the bullies are winning. And, how far is it going to go before everyone stands up and says, no, enough is enough. This can't continue the way it's going.
Well, you say that, Jacinta, but I'm afraid the intimidation of people is really so extreme. And I've covered on the show a couple of times the sort of things that you have endured, but, not everyone has got your courage in standing up to it. Explain to me, we see on the ABC, for instance, I've seen them have 2 activists come on to say, burn Australia down. That was a theme in a series they had with Deborah Mailman as well, burn it down. They had someone the other day come on, an activist, say, cops are murdering 400 of our people in jail, or Aborigines in jail. What is going on here? Is this reflective of Aboriginal Australia, really?
No, this is pandering to a very vocal minority who have been bullying their way through, who continue to do so, the same sorts of individuals that would spew racially vilifying rhetoric towards someone like me and, calling me a coconut and an Uncle Tom and threatening me effectively. And they're supported. And this, they highlight what is wrong with Aboriginal Australia. One of the biggest hurdles that we have to overcome in order for us to advance ourselves is dealing with people like this within our own communities, within our own families. I have been contacted flat out by Aboriginal people around the country who are deeply concerned about their own welfare should they simply share one of my posts, and saying that they have, and they've been jumped on and attacked. So I've established a support network which I want to grow so that Aboriginal people out there can understand that they have a right to speak up about these issues, and they shouldn't be bullied into submission to basically continue the narrative which is based on lies.
Jacinta, what is it that the black radicals and the white radicals together, because they sing with the same voice, I'll give a fantastic example of that at the end of the show, what don't they get about Australia? I mean, there's good and bad in the past, but how would you sum up our past, the past that they don't understand?
Look, every country has got a past that, a history that has experienced violence and dispossession the world over. And this is the focus that these individuals want to maintain, to continue to create this divide. And it seems as though that what they've done is they've realised as bullies, when they get their way, they're making more ground. So they think they can continue along that path because, well, let's face it, they're being allowed to do so. I don't know what the outcome is that they hope to reach for, but to see our own taxpayer-funded broadcast that perpetuating lies is not only are they doing Australians a disservice, but they are effectively silencing the real victims, who are the women and the children, who are victims to the perpetrators, who then go on to be locked up and contributing to the high rates of incarceration and also contributing to black deaths in custody. That's their main concern. Their concern is the welfare of these perpetrators, not the victims. And the ABC is effectively silencing these victims further and making the situation worse for marginalised Aboriginal people who don't have a voice.
Seems to me they're defending the male perpetrators in jail and ignoring the victims back in the communities that probably don't want some of these men released all that soon. And the thing too, I think the ABC really does want Aborigines kept as pet victims that they can patronise and put words in their mouth. And I think they're actually threatened by strong Aboriginal women like yourself, Jacinta Price, which is why some of the appalling treatment the ABC has dealt with given you over the past. Jacinta Price, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Andrew.